Okay. We'll call to order this meeting of the Kingston School Committee. This meeting is being recorded by Local Scene. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. We'll do a roll call to order. Jeannie Coleman.
Present.
Trisha Arietta. Present. Sheila Vaughn.
Present.
Welcome. Megan Cannon, I am present. Okay. Are there any visitors this evening? You guys are up next. Okay. Second. Do we have a motion to approve the regular minutes from June 24th, 2024, July 15th, 2024, August 1st, 2024, and August 27th, 2024?
Make a motion to approve the minutes that you just read off.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on our list, we have the KFE here with a check presentation. If you guys want to come on up.
I'm Allison Brown, president of KFE.
Microphone needs to be turned on.
Push the button on the bottom of it.
Is it working? Hello?
Now it is.
It's on.
I didn't know there was a man behind the curtain. Again, so I'm Allison Brown, president of KFE. I have a bunch of members with me today. Erin Barrett. Everyone introduce themselves.
Dina. Sarah.
Stacy. Taylor. We are excited to be giving our annual donation again. I don't know, is there anything else we want to say this year? Yeah. We do a lot of work, obviously, to raise this money. The schools help tremendously. The principals are a huge part of this. We hope that this helps a lot this year, and we look forward to our new fundraising year. So the KFE would like to present their check of $60,000.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask?
Principals. Come on up.
7:30. We over here.
Just ask them what they're using it for this year.
What?
Just ask them what they're using it for this year.
Okay.
You were just saying 70-30,
Allison, we're going to reuse this. Yeah. Allison, I just have a question for you. Will you go back to the mic?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Actually, I just have two questions for you.
Yeah, go for it.
One is, do you know what anything you guys might be purchasing for the upcoming school year?
Not off the top of my
Or
head.
was anything purchased this past school year, I guess, that?
We are building an outdoor classroom at KES. There's probably some extra things we want to add to that. That's all I know about.
Okay. And then second, do you guys have an upcoming fundraiser that you wanted to share?
Oh, yeah, of course. This Friday, actually the 20th, we have a back-to-school brews. It's a parents' night out, 21 plus only, at Mayflower Brewery. There's tickets online. You can buy tickets at the door. We also have a Pong tournament with an awesome first place prize winner. Everybody in town has kind of helped us out with donations, so we're really excited.
All right, that's,
Oh, yep, the Rippers are playing. They're awesome. What else? There will be a food truck there too. And
great.
that's it. Raffles.
That sounds like a fun night for parents, especially now with back to school, perfect timing.
Yes, yes.
right.
Hopefully,
Megan, can I ask a
we get a lot of
question?
people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding that over this past couple of years, since essentially the new board's taken over, you guys have kind of included more of like a STEAM, right?
Correct.
Not just technology. Can you explain that a little bit and just?
STEAM? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What are you
it's
doing?
science, technology, engineering, arts, A is for arts, and M is for math. That way our funds can cover a more broader scope of the needs of the school versus when we were founded, it was just specifically technology, more like Chromebooks, MacBooks, stuff like that. So this could support anything that could fall under math, science, like an outdoor classroom.
That's actually why I'd asked, because I
Yeah.
know that you guys have been helping out with some of the teacher classrooms and items and stuff like that for them, which is, sorry. I know that you guys have been helping out with some of the teacher classrooms and stuff as well. So that's greatly appreciated, and we appreciate all you do.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
thanks,
We
everyone.
love what we do, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fundraising with a purpose. All right, I will make a motion that we accept the generous $60,000 donation from the KFE.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I turned this into a whiteboard, so I'm gonna just clean it and take it home with me. so.
You can write yourself a blank check, right?
Okay.
Do you have your own mic? Oh, you have your own. I thought we were sharing one, that's why I was sitting so far away.
Next on our agenda, we have the state funding for emergency shelter reimbursement and possible vote. So I will turn that over to Sarah.
Do you have electric vehicle charging?
I do, but I have that after. On the one I have 5 for state funding and 6 for electric.
That's fine.
It's okay, it makes it special and surprising, because I have this in a completely different place.
Do I have a different one?
So,
Okay.
let's
think you do. I think so.
get my notes.
We'll make
I have it in a
interesting
different
then.
one.
On August 14th, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education informed us of the final payment.
Microphone.
On August 14th, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education informed us of the final payment of $251,840.89 from the Emergency Assistance Shelter Reimbursement Program. That, it is a bigger number than the previous reimbursements because it included funds for anybody they may have missed in previous data collections.
Okay.
By that, do you mean there's some back pay that was owed for
Yes.
children? Okay. And that's $104 a day, is that correct?
And 89 cents.
$104.89 a day.
Closer to 100.
So,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we anticipating funds for this school year?
So the students that are in the shelter, it's my understanding that they were part of the October 1.
Sorry, doctor, you bring the mic closer?
The students that are living in the shelter were included on our October 1 enrollment and therefore are part of our Chapter 70 funding that from the state.
Okay.
So I will be pleased and surprised if additional money comes in.
Okay.
I don't expect it.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions or?
Oh, just to
Sarah?
clarify, I just had a clarifying, so all the money that we accumulated this past year, the total, all the money that we accumulated this year, that was because the kids that came in from the emergency shelter weren't counted October 1, so it was a reimbursement from the state, is that accurate?
I believe that is
Yeah.
accurate. I can give you the law where the supplemental budget, I just haven't read it
Oh,
recently.
that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then just to make sure that we understand correctly, are there limitations on how we can spend this money?
Let me read the letter. It says, "The funds must be deposited in a separate account like a state grant and made available to the school committee without further appropriation. The funds can be used to support instructional services and any other services that the district is providing to these students and their families."
Okay. So that covers many, many things.
Broad.
Okay, right.
Megan, can I ask, this is currently supplemental to our current budget, is that correct?
Correct.
This was not planned for when we did our budgeting in the spring. Is that correct? We
When we-
anticipated it, but we didn't know.
When we did our budgeting in the spring, we anticipated $130,000 to offset the salaries of 2 ELL teachers. Anything over that $130,000 was unexpected and welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's very helpful.
Can I just ask a quick question? So how much do we need to be reimbursed to be actual, how much money, like, I'm trying to think, like, how much are we actually spending on this? And so do we need to give back even more to fund what we're doing? Or can we find another ELL teacher with the additional funds?
The funds over the 130,000, they're
Specifically earmarked for them, right? To do something for them? Or is this, it's just reimbursing, so we can take this other, $120,000 and pretty much just spend it on what we need to spend it on? I'm just trying to figure out if it's just for those students to be able
It's
to.
just for those students?
Okay,
With broad limitations.
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
So, for example, we wouldn't be funding a new instrumental music teacher with this. That's not what it is for. But there is a broad variety of things that we could use it for.
Hypothetically, could it be put towards a playground? Since they use it? To be determined.
Possibly.
I guess.
Is that something we can
I'm gonna-
find out?
Yeah, we'd have to
Look into it.
Okay,
into that.
okay.
I know that the principals themselves have some
Plans.
requests and needs for the students, in particular, software such as potentially Lexia and paraprofessional support for our younger students.
Okay.
But we can look into whether something like that would be covered.
All right, that would be great. Thank you.
Looking for a motion?
Yes, we get a motion to accept the funds?
I will make a motion that we accept the state grant for $251,840.89 for the emergency shelter reimbursement.
Second that? Oh, no. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Next, we have the electric vehicle charging station discussion. Is there?
Yes, Gabriel Andreessen is here tonight to speak to a proposal to the town regarding an electric vehicle charging station at one of our schools.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do my best to speak in the mic so I don't get slapped. I'm Gabe Andreessen. I live in Kingston. Graduated from Silver Lake in 1990, dating myself. Went into business for myself in the same industry that I've spent my career in 2019, just before COVID. And my business partner and I started out of our homes. Now we have a company of about 15 people, and we're doing a lot with EV charging across the country. We've installed ports in about 10 different states. The most activity by far is here in Massachusetts, which is why I'm here today, or this evening. Thank you for the opportunity, Jill and team. And we have put together really a proposal to Silver Lake Regional School District to put a bank of fast chargers over on that campus. And it's a little, it sort of mirrors the solar approach, where a third-party owner-investor will make the investment, net of incentive, to put the chargers in. They will operate the chargers, which really means they'll take responsibility for the chargers. These are fast chargers, so there's a lot of maintenance that can go into them depending on how much they're used. Because they're fast chargers, there's revenue associated. So what we've proposed to the school district is what I'm proposing tonight, is putting a bank of chargers on the top parking lot between KES and KIS on 2nd Brook Street. And the way that this would work is we would likely get this approved by Eversource. It's about a 5 to 6 month approval process. This third party would lay out the capital and maintain, own, and operate, and then share 30% of the profit with the elementary school, the intermediate school, the town. I don't know how that all works, but that entity would split that profit on a 30% basis for having the chargers there for 10 years. EV is here. There's mixed feelings about it. I drive an EV. I have for about 3 years now. It's not certainly without challenge, but I think it's well worth the investment that I made. And because it's technology, what we're seeing in the industry is it's advancing. So for example, a leapfrog technology that's about to come out, they're saying it'll be released in 2025, is what's called a solid-state battery. Solid-state batteries are much less prone to fires. They charge a lot faster, and this particular battery being released by Samsung is designed to charge on a fast charger in 10 minutes with a full range of 600 miles. So this kind of technology, I think, is going to continue to foster adoption as people get less and less concerned about range anxiety. I've done a lot of business over the past 15 years or so with the town of Franklin. They've offered to be a reference. We've put about 20 stations in Franklin. Those first round of stations we put in are level 2, so they're more amenity chargers like what we have back here or up at the library. And they've realized around 2,300 sessions on their level 2 chargers from January to now. So I can kind of cook that into a rough idea of what kind of revenue is likely to occur here per site, okay? If I translate that data, it would come out to, at a 30% profit share, I think it's pretty a good estimate that the town would get about $17,000 in profit per year. As adoption happens, we're going to see more and more people charging on fast chargers. So I don't see a downside to this kind of a situation. There have been some concerns about obsolescence. We're not going to see that on the charging station side. You're going to see the technology improve on the car side. So it seems pretty risk-free for no capital outlay. Are there any questions specifically? Yes.
I have a few. How many spaces are considered a bank?
So that's a great question. This proposal is for 6 plugs, which is 3 stations.
Is that 3 spaces?
That would be 6 spaces.
6 spaces, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, what is the average charging time per vehicle?
What I've estimated is a half hour.
Okay.
Generally, you get about 100 miles in 15 minutes. But I think a half hour, if somebody's there, you know, my habit is if I get on a fast charger, I'm going to stay there until I'm probably 80%.
Okay. And then for your estimate of the 17,000, I'm just curious, and I don't know if this is possible, like was anything looked into in terms of how many people in Kingston have electric vehicles, like
Have not.
as compared to Franklin?
Have not.
I'm just curious, like if that's something like they might have a higher
Probably.
percentage of residents with electric vehicles, so,
I think that's a very fair estimate.
okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I do think that there'll be plenty of use. Keep in mind, this is the way that the money is flowing right now is that we're not setting these up just for the school. They're open for the public.
Right.
So what happens is there's a crowd share app called PlugShare. And when we install the stations, we upload the data to PlugShare so that a pin gets dropped on the map. So any EV drivers on Route 3 are going to see that. They'll come over. Right now, there's almost no fast chargers around. I think we're putting some in Plymouth, like several down in Plymouth. But aside from Silver Lake, I've tried Alley Cat, but they don't want to talk to me. So I think, and also across the street would be a great location, and they're not really interested at this time. So it's a good opportunity to get in right now. As more drivers are adopting, you're going to see these charging rates go up.
Because I just have one last, I mean, I will say, like, the income is positive, but that also gives me concern to know that anybody with an electric vehicle would be on elementary school
100%.
property
Yep.
for an average of 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Because I'm assuming they probably want to get out of their car, which that parking lot is extremely close to our integrated preschool playground area. So just kind of throwing that out there as a concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's very legitimate. Franklin had some of the same concerns. And their mindset on it is quite a bit different. The ones at the high school were installed in January, and all they've gotten is feedback from the community that they're really happy that there's charging there. There hasn't been any incidents. That's anecdotal. I can say, does anybody here drive an EV? So my practice, if I'm going to a fast charger, either I'm getting out and going across the street to get some lunch, or I'm sitting on my device doing emails, catching up on work. Yeah. What other questions?
I have a few,
Yeah.
if I may. Have you presented this proposal to the town of Kingston itself, not just the schools?
I have run this by Keith,
Okay.
and he's in favor of it.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I think of this lot out here, and it seems like a no-brainer, because it's not very full unless there's a town function going on. But I think of the lot, and I wonder if, like, especially when there's an event at the schools, the principals know that there's overflow parking up on the grass. I mean, there are literally people parked everywhere, and in that case, 6 spots would go a long way to preventing, like, some kind of, traffic jam.
Sure.
In the lots. I guess I'm also concerned with the playground aspect, but where in the lot are you looking? Because is that the teacher's parking lot, essentially?
So I have an image, if you'd like to see it,
Yes, please.
of where we're proposing to put them. So
Right,
that's
it's
the
on
top
Second
one.
Brook.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Yep, that's what I was,
It's a great location in terms of power, because there's 3 phase power running right through there.
it's on the street side. So the only other concern is, like you just mentioned, like a lot of times that people with the EVs, if it's in the middle of a parking lot, they can go get lunch somewhere. There's nothing nearby the elementary schools on that street. The closest walk would be a half mile away to Cancun Restaurant.
Yep.
So it's not something that even, they could go get a cup of coffee. There's nothing right there. So, I mean, I like this proposal, I think, better than taking from the high school parking lots. I know that was the discussion we had a few weeks ago, just because I know how coveted those spots are. But even then, when you think of the amount of families that utilize one school, and if both schools have a function going on, it's double the traffic. So those are also coveted spots, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
But in those
So.
instances, I mean, anyone could park.
I was going to say, is there a penalty for, like, if somebody parked in one and somebody else is alerted that there's an available spot, but they get there and it's filled with, like, a non-EV car, is there, like, a tow number to call, or?
No, I mean, the town loses money, as does the third party, but I would see that as an exception to the rule.
Okay.
Of course, if there's people parking in grass and there's no EVs on those spaces, you're not going to get fined for parking
Okay.
there, but, do what you got to do and then move.
I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah,
Thank you.
100%.
Tricia.
I just had a question on, you said the revenue that you're estimating is about 17,000. How many, does that equate to like the number of minutes that would?
So that estimate is based on 30-minute sessions at 33 a week.
33 charging sessions per week?
Yes, per week. And that data is based on the data that I pulled from that other community.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, I'm speaking with another municipality, had a meeting with their energy team 2 nights ago, and they have the exact same amount of sessions as Franklin, 2,306 at one and like 2,320 at the other. So I think that there's a fair degree of confidence that we can speak to this, that once people in the area understand that there's fast charging available there, and maybe we want to go at the library, then those stations will begin to get utilized.
What is the 2,300? Is that how many?
Sessions.
Sessions.
And that's sessions on level 2 charging. So I would think with level 3, you're probably going to see more than that, because a level 2 it charges at like 9 to 25 miles of range per hour. So like, I don't plug in on level 2 unless I'm at my office or at my house.
Mm-hmm.
Driving by the library right now on my way down, there's a Tesla in the lot not plugged in, because it's just like 25 miles. I don't really need that.
I feel like the concern I would have on that is just that we have a traffic congestion at these 2 schools now during the regular day, and it just seems like adding more traffic and confusion and congestion gives me pause.
I
to be
understand.
honest.
That's a very reasonable
I think
perspective.
there's a lot of other locations, like the library and different things in town that might be.
Certain times of day. I
Yeah.
think it would be, like, drop off and pick up would
Right.
be almost impossible for
Right.
people to try to get there.
I would just like to chime in a little bit and just say, I can understand why you'd want to be right around here, because it's right off the highway, and going down Route 3, down to the Cape, with a fast charger, people are going to be excited, because, they're hitting, down Route 3, we're halfway down to the Cape, you hit a half-hour charge, you can get down to the Cape. And I think being further away from the highway, I mean, Franklin, I don't know if it's right off the highway or not, but I do believe that being closer to a highway or getting right off the highway is you're going to see more people come to that, because, the former facilities director and I talked about this a long time ago, about doing the fast charge at the high school. The high school is off the beaten path, it's not like it's going to take you 15 minutes to even get to the high school from the highway. But, again, it's 6 spaces, so I totally get that, and certain times of the day, it is busier than others, but, if we're going to bring in, $20,000 a year for the 6 spaces, that for us to be able to use, I think it's a great idea, and I love the fast charge, because they're not there for, 3 hours, 4 hours, and like you say, there isn't a ton of things around, but they could technically walk up the street to go to, a restaurant or something. They're not out of the woods as compared to some of the other areas around here where there is literally nothing around to sit in there. So, and it's been talked about a while, and like you say, I love the high school just because I love the students who would be able to use them, but I understand where you're coming from with with being next to a highway, and I do think these would get used because of the location. So.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I think the primary 2 problems to deal with are traffic flow and strangers. And positives and negatives.
Could I just ask you two questions? One, I think you said there's a 10-year commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happens in the event that 5 years into it, we realize it's not working? Like, what happens in that case?
So the contract can be terminated, and upon termination, the third party would be obligated to remove the stations.
Is there any financial implication to
I don't
Kingston?
believe there is at 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my second question, and you mentioned that you had spoken with Keith. Has it been confirmed that that money would go to the schools and not the town?
Yeah, I don't, that's above my grade.
Okay. That is definitely something I think we would.
I think
wanna-
Jill wants it all, but
I think we would want to.
Well, I think if it's on school property, I think that,
But it's cool
That's-
property is
and that's one of the
town-owned,
reasons
so
I'd
that's why
asked
I
if
feel
you
like
had
it's kind of
approached
gray
the
area.
town.
Like,
right.
we would just want
That's a
to
good question.
confirm that, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Megan, may I just clarify that a vote tonight is for the application, and that's to see if we would even get approved by Eversource to do this, and then in the event that we do, then we would have to take another vote, which would be binding. But this is not a non-binding vote
Correct.
tonight.
this is not signing a contract. This is giving me permission to file the application, which again takes 5 to 6 months to get through, at which point we'll need to make a decision.
I have one other question. I love Megan's question about the financial implications. So what's the minimum amount of commitment we'd have to have? Is it 5 years, is it 3 years, where if it's not working for us, we
Okay.
can have the equipment removed?
I would like to be able to read through the contract again.
Okay,
My rusty steel trap of a mind is saying 5-year minimum,
okay.
but it's a 10-year agreement. There are clauses to terminate if it's not working, and that's from both parties. And if there's a termination of the contract, then the third party needs to remove the equipment, so you're not stuck with stuff.
And just so at the 10-year, they are obligated to remove it as well. Who's the
Yep.
third party?
It's a company called Charging Networks.
Okay.
All right, well, is there a motion to approve the application with Eversource for this?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'm hesitant because of the location of this one, I will say. And because of the unknowns with the town. Also.
Both valid concerns?
You can second it if you want.
No? Okay. Hearing no second, and we will not proceed with the application.
Okay?
All right, thank you for your time, we appreciate
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're
presentation.
welcome.
I would love to see something like that back here if the town's interested.
Back over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have Kingston Elementary School playground discussion. Carrie, are you going to speak to that? Or Tricia can talk if you prefer?
I'm talking about it during, when I talk, but I can come after, whatever.
Do you want to start and she can jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Grand means it's on, right?
I think so.
Okay, all right. So we had done a inspection August. We had tried to get it done earlier, but there was a long wait list of trying to get squeezed in. So that's why if the timing looks like it got shut down right before school started, it was because of a wait list. So we had someone come in, I think you guys have the report in the folder regarding it. We also, since then, on last Wednesday, had the person, Joe,
Do 4.
yeah. He came, who actually built the playground, and he came to look at it, and we don't have it in writing yet. He was trying to get it to me for tonight, but he said he could fix the playground. Obviously, there'll still be a financial piece to it, but he says it doesn't have to be a tear down and that we can fix it. So I think the issues that we need to figure out, though, is like we have a report that says it's got to come down, and we have someone else that says it can be fixed. I have reached out to the town for the CPC funding too, to try to jump on that, just to see what is available for us regardless of if we have to fix it or replace it. So I'm still going through that process.
Have you heard back from the town on that?
Yes, but I don't really have clear answers yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and Trish reached out, was willing to kind of help me with this, so I appreciate that.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, I can just give a kind of a recap on what happened at the meeting. The landscape structures came in and looked at it. We're at 22 years on this playground equipment, and the useful life of it is 30 years. So the report that was the concerns that were there he was describing the fact that you had to look at the law and see what's compliant and not compliant, and all of the items that were cited were all within their ability to remedy. So it comes down to like leveling out the surface so that it's safe, and then the material itself, whether that's compliant with the state laws, which it is. The equipment itself, though, that's what he was saying, that he could certify that. So all of the items were more maintenance that had to be pulled out, like the platforms, the swings, the chains, all these things can be fixed, essentially replaced. Whether the other inspector had that knowledge is really probably what he was saying. You know, the platforms themselves, they need to be replaced for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where the disconnect came in, but according to, they've done, Landscape Structures is probably the initial company that's done a bunch of playgrounds in Massachusetts. So I thought that was great news to get the kids potentially back on playgrounds this year.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was he looked at like, okay, when you replace it, it's like a long ramp to replacement, the design, the bidding and what have you. That's like a 3-year program. So it's like, get this back up and running, get our kids back on the playground, and then start the process for design and the future long-term plan that's could take place.
Thank you for clarifying
Yeah.
at the end there, because that was going to be my question. So assuming that the manufacturer is saying that this is a temporary fix, or are they saying this should be a permanent fix for X amount of years? Are they
I think it's to buy time,
giving an
is my
estimate?
understanding. I unfortunately wasn't at that meeting, so Trish was there with
Yeah.
Mike Lawless.
So it was a permanent fix, but if the useful life of it is 10 more years, it gives us time to
Plan.
start the process?
start the process for
Yeah.
replacement. So we're not, it was all deferred maintenance because of COVID is really why we're kind of sitting here.
Okay, and then to that point, Dr. Whipple, I'm wondering if you can just explain, because there's obviously been a lot of questions about this to the public, kind of not so much why there was the delay, but some of the things that were highlighted as reasons that they wrote on the report that it needs to be immediately shut down, which obviously, like, I don't want two conflicting reports out there and say,
Right.
well, the manufacturer says it doesn't need to be shut down, because then people are gonna,
Yeah.
you know,
It's confusing. So like
try to- right.
when she had come in and did the did the inspection, she asked me to come out there and showed me, because obviously, like, I'm not a trained playground inspector. Like, I don't know anything about
You're
this.
not?
And when she went to go point them out, I'm like, oh yeah, now I see that, but I wouldn't have seen that like through my eyes, through my lens. So she had said that day it needs to be shut down. I was like, well, I need a report. So I don't know. I think there's also, it's hard because I think the people that are inspecting also build playgrounds. So, and this is my first time dealing with this, to be completely transparent, and someone had mentioned, oh, we're supposed to get that inspected. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that, so we went ahead and did it, and then that's what unfolded.
Okay. And then to that point about the person that does the inspection is also a playground, I guess, manufacturer. Is this something that the inspection, is that required by the town on a regular basis? Or is that something, like, who determines how often playgrounds need to be inspected?
That I'm not sure.
And the only reason I'm asking is because it would have been nice to know 3 years ago when we spent upwards of like $750,000 at Grays Beach,
Yeah.
that the school playground needed to be replaced.
I agree.
And
Yep.
second to that, one of the things I saw in the report is almost, I think, frivolous, since it's a K-2 school. One of the things they were saying was missing was the signage that says how old the kids need to be to use the
Yeah.
equipment. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that seems, I think, ridiculous, since it's a school playground and it's going to be built for those grades,
Yeah.
or ages. But, and I would hope that something like that wouldn't be the cause to say shut down a playground.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, okay.
I think the unleveling of the surfaces, I think there was that was the concern in that.
Right, but the irony is, they're concerned about the wood chips, but then they put wood chips back in at even Grays Beach.
So I think it has to be the depth of the wood chip, so if someone were to
Okay.
fall, the impact is less
Right.
because of the depth of them.
Okay.
That's my very minimal understanding, though. I don't know anything else about wood chips.
Has Has the public responded at least favorably? I know that you put up a post the other day of the kids playing soccer.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
at least sounds fun, but I mean,
I
what are the
think
kids doing at recess?
People have voiced some concern, but I think just like Kingston, they're always very supportive and kind generally, so they've been great. The kids have been great. We have all those stencils we did this summer as well, so I think that helps. Kids are resilient. I know that they're bummed about the playground right now, so hopefully we can figure it out sooner than later. But generally, I would say people have been pretty kind to me about it, at least.
So how soon between now and I guess the next meeting should you have an estimate from the manufacturer about the cost
I
of
think
repairs?
he'll get it to me this week. He was trying to get it to me for tonight.
Okay.
So if we get it this week, I think then we can plan. Unfortunately, I didn't budget for any of this, though, so that's not, so depending on what that costs, I'm wondering if we could still use the CPC funding, but again, that's a long, lengthy process from my
Right.
understanding, too.
It is, and then I know Mr. Pike could probably clarify, but unless
Yeah.
there's additional CPC funds for this fiscal year for the fall town meeting, then you're not going to get any CPC funds until after the May town meeting.
Yeah.
So that's an entire year without a playground, so.
Which if you're building a new playground, it gives you that, planning time, right?
Right.
Because you go to design. But KFE and PTO also had mentioned that, they're willing to try to help and support as well.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get it back up and running this school year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Megan, it says vote on there. Do you need a vote for anything for the playground?
Don't think we
Possible
have
vote.
anything to
Okay.
vote on
Thank you.
at this time. Okay, next up, we have calendar amendment and discussion. It was brought up at very end of last school year about the last day of school being marked as a half-day or not marked as a half-day. Tricia, refresh my memory.
Yeah, so there was some confusion on the calendar itself, and the question was, on the calendar for the last day, it is a moving, 5-day tentative day, but parents wanted it to be understood it's a half a day, or it's an early release on the front of the calendar, so that they probably will forget. Can they just have that extra little notation at the bottom, half day, last day, half day, or something, however we want to word that. That was the question.
So what we were able to fit in on the first page is an asterisk next to June 23rd, which directs you to the second page, which
Yeah.
says, the last day of school is a half-day for elementary schools and the middle school. So, again, we would,
Do our best.
we
to
could
communicate that.
try to squeeze it in on the front page, but you might lose other things.
It's tricky
It is tricky.
with that.
Right, no, I think it's fine like that, because unfortunately, I don't think people refer to it a lot, but I don't think people study it and put it in correctly, but I just think that it's more important that the principals are sending out the communication notices in advance of the half-days, preferably even at least a week. I know there's some parents that are always, right, the end of September, I know, is a big one that pops up on people.
Would it be possible to add the asterisk to the other half-days, just to make it kind of uniform throughout the calendar? You have it next to the June 23rd, so next to June 5th, March 6th. Do you know, could we do
September
that?
26th,
We would,
Since the asterisk just indicates half-day?
sure, if the asterisk indicates half-day, though, we would need to say that the asterisk indicates a half-day, and not the statement that the last day of school is a half-day. Because right now, the asterisk alerts
okay,
people
right.
to that particular
Statement, okay.
notification. So we could either put asterisks on every half-day.
I just feel like people are maybe more likely to notice it if there's more than one.
So Silver Lake High School and Middle School have a beautiful web base that I uploaded into my calendar, and I have all of Silver Lake already uploaded into my calendar. Is there a reason why we have not done this with this calendar yet? Because Silver Lake does it where it's the calendar it literally is a web doc, and I just upload it right into my calendar, and then it's all there already.
So all of our websites feed into the same calendar, so you should be able to access that same feature for both
Okay.
KES and KIS.
Because I literally just click, upload the calendar, and I just use the web, and it just goes right in there, so it just says everything, whatever it says. So it's already in my calendar.
Just might need to select KES.
KES. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if the question is parents just, we're trying to.
There was a
trying to
lot of confusion
diff-
last year.
We're
in the
trying
last day
to
of
get
school
out of
for whatever
confusion, so if it
reason.
was like last day, whoever makes that calendar can just put half day in there, I think. I don't know that everybody knows how to do that, Sheila, like to download it, and if there's just like easy to put it on, obviously it's not that easy to put it on, otherwise we probably would have, but just trying to notate it for parents.
Oh, I see.
I believe that was the best we could do with space,
Okay.
but I will once again go back and,
I'm sorry, would you mind for this next time? I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Trish,
Sorry,
Ariana?
Trish, just next time, everybody close it.
Oh, okay.
see if we can fit that in.
Okay.
The issue is that it's the half-day for elementary schools and the middle schools. It's not even as if we can just say half-day, because it's different, and this is a district-wide calendar.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
the other issue is that when you go to the website, you can download a school-specific calendar,
Okay.
which might be helpful for
Yep.
parents. But we will try to come up with something.
Do we need to
Thank you.
vote to accept the asterisk amendment?
No,
Or is
because
that-
that was the way it
Okay.
is. And the other thing here is that if we change it substantively, then we need to go back to joint committee. If we change it, if we're able to change it just by adding a descriptor, then
We're good.
we're in good shape. So,
Okay.
but we will see what we can do.
Okay, thanks.
All right. All right, let's see, next up. Teacher's Corner. Ms. Reynard, welcome.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Denise Reynard, Library and Technology Teacher at KES. And I'm representing the Kingston teachers, obviously. Just a few things we wanted to share as we start the new year. Students are settling into their school and getting used to new routines and expectations. We had the PTO back-to-school ice cream social, which was a great event. Teachers love seeing their former students and meeting new families. Although we did miss seeing Dr. Whipple in the dunk tank. Teachers are looking forward to curriculum night and sharing their curriculums and expectations and meeting more new families. And the schools and buses are bustling with the most students we've had in many years, and although there are some challenges that go with that, we love that families choose to come to the Kingston community, and we're looking forward to a great year. Thank you.
Glad to hear it got off to a good start. Okay. PTO report is, we do not appear to have any PTO representatives.
I will actually
Jeannie, do
give
you
a
wanna-
plug, please. They had a meeting the other day, and I heard that they did get Barrett's Haunted Mansion, and it's going to be for October 27th this year. I believe I'm going to be at Six Flags, but if anyone would like to volunteer, Adam, I think you did it last year. Yes, so if anyone would like to volunteer to be part of the attraction, you have to be 21 years old. You get there from approximately 5 o'clock until like 11 o'clock, until the last group goes to the haunted house. The PTO, I believe it's, forget how much money,
$2,500 left.
$2,500. One year was $3,000 for the commitment of volunteers. And it's much closer to Halloween this year, so it's expected to be very,
It's the
very
Sunday
busy.
before, yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
good.
it's the Sunday before. So, and then their flyers just came home for the fall fundraiser as well, in the backpacks.
All right, great, thanks. Okay, principals reports. Dr. Whipple. All right, so it's been a very busy year already welcoming back our staff. I do need to give a plug for our custodians because they do an absolutely incredible job cleaning the building. It's actually amazing if you ever see it from like June to August. You're like, how do we get here every year? And they do such an incredible job. And they work really hard so that they can do the little extra stuff and projects to make sure that the building is looking good for our staff, our students, and families. But to the point of enrollment is through the roof, as you saw, which again, to Ms. Raynard's point, like, it's awesome. People want to be here because of how supportive the community is. Kindergarten, we have our largest class yet of 195 students. First grade, 162, and second grade, 174. So we have a total of 531 students. You're probably wondering, what does that look like in a kindergarten classroom? Thank you for keeping our staff, because it would have been even more challenging. We have 8 kindergarten teachers, but we are looking, anywhere from 24 to 27 kids in a classroom. So we're kind of back to where we were 2 years ago. But my staff always persevere and work really hard to make sure kids are getting a great experience regardless, and I'm proud of them for that. I think one thing to note, so we just are doing our benchmark assessment, so that's our DIBELS and our STAR for literacy and math. And I spent most of the weekend kind of looking and analyzing what we did have done already, and our current first grade students are coming in at 70% at or above grade level, which is incredible, right? Because that's only 30% of kids. We need to move everyone still. Everyone needs to grow no matter what, but that's a great place to start. And I think that has a lot to do with some of the curriculums we're using that are new, as well as our class numbers in kindergarten were 2021 last year. So I have no doubt that my staff are going to get there this year again, with the students even having large class numbers. But I think there's something to be said for more kind of teacher face time with them. This year we have a big focus on grit, so we presented it to our staff, and I think if you look at the research, it shows that IQ doesn't determine necessarily your success, but grit plays a huge role in that. So it's been awesome. We've had teachers who are recognizing kids for showing grit, not just academically, but it could be students that are having a difficult time transitioning into the classroom, right? It could be social, it could be behavior, it could be emotional. So the kids are able to get like a little grit pass. They come to the office, they get a certificate, they're recognized by someone in the office, and they're really excited about it. So we're psyched about that. Value of the month is respect, so we continue to do our positive office referrals every week. So teachers send kids down who show respect, whether it's within their classroom, with their classmates, their materials, across the whole board. So that's been awesome. As I mentioned, we did the painted stencils this summer, so thanks to KFE, they funded that on June 19th. They all came out and volunteered and helped us paint the stencils, so it was great. Everyone transitioned amazing to school. I think my most anxiety-provoking moment is kindergarten, especially 195 5-year-olds. First and second grade were seamless, came in, did their job. Kindergarten, we have a little bit of leeway based on the changes we made a couple years ago, and I'm so grateful for that, because to have almost 200 kids come at the same time as first and second graders is challenging. So everyone, all hands on deck, they did an incredible job. And kids, I feel like, felt supported, families felt supported, so it was a great transition back. So dismissal and traffic has come up a few times, so I thought I would just mention that, because I know that's kind of a lot of talking going on as well. So previously for Carline, I know, like, if you think back to 2019, it was everyone had to park. We don't have enough parking spots. So it needs to be a rolling car line. So although we didn't enforce it well last year, this year we enforced for parents to stay in the car, because it winds up becoming a little bit of a safety issue and distraction, because the kids start playing. It winds up being like almost a little play date waiting for their kids to be picked up. So we've really asked parents who've been awesome to stay in their cars so we can quickly do a rolling drop-off. A rolling pickup. Drop-off I know causes traffic, but the pickup takes a little bit more time. Parents have been awesome about it. I know it's causing quite a bit of traffic up Second Brook and Main Street.
That's the water.
What's that?
That's the water construction.
Oh.
It's not just you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work with KPD, and we've had evaluations done through the Department of Transportation, and we're going to be meeting, I think, next week. We're going to try to set up a time to see if there's anything we can tweak to make it more efficient and better, because we don't want people feeling stressed out, come and pick up and drop off, and want to make sure everyone's safe as well. But if people have questions, I encourage them to come and talk to me about it. So parents have asked questions, which has been wonderful. Playground, we kind of already talked about. Outdoor classroom, so that we hit the ground in August. So there's a cement slab if you stop by, and we just gave the plans to Mike Lawless to bring to the high school, because the high school carpentry program is going to build a pavilion. And then, like Allison Brown said, we're going to we have a committee that hasn't started yet, because we don't have the pavilion up yet, but we're going to talk about what does that furniture look like underneath it, so to make sure it's accessible for all students at KES. Let's see, I was writing some handwritten notes here in case I forgot. Oh, and curriculum night is Wednesday, and we do
to talk about the half-days, I do send out a newsletter every month that has that listed on there, so we'll make sure we do. My secretary's really good, where she'll say, hey, don't forget to remind parents about the half-day, because people forget, including me, with my kids' half-days. But any questions for me?
Dr. Whipple, on our enrollment, it has asterisks next to a few teachers. What does that denote?
Allergy.
Allergy, okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
because obviously I see multiple per
Yeah,
grade level,
yeah.
because we no
Yeah.
longer segregate those students, is that correct? They're kind of
They're not
rolled
just
throughout.
assigned, like, they can be,
Correct.
there could be 8 allergy classrooms per grade level,
Right.
technically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the largest class specifically for like the 27 in kindergarten, those are usually inclusion classes, right? Where-
Usually what?
Inclusion classes where kids are kind of more,
Potentially
Like,
part of programs, so they're not
in
in
and
there all
out?
day.
Right.
Just maybe specials, lunch, recess, and other times, but yeah.
just because obviously, like, I don't want
That's why it
somebody to
looks
think that it's like,
inequitable. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where there's some classes with only 20. And then just an update, because I think you seemed surprised when I just mentioned about the water construction. That's been a nightmare in Kingston. It takes like half hour to get from the
Oh,
south
I've
end of
been,
town.
I've been in contact with
straight through.
Superintendent Chris
Right.
a lot.
And one of the things that, one of the things I just heard was, in order for them to pave even the road out here, like once it's all done, because it's almost done, it takes 90 days for the road to set first before they can even pave it, and then by then it's going to be too cold. So we might not even have like the road paved until like the
Until spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I heard that update the other day.
Okay, good to know,
It's-
thanks.
It's awful. It's awful.
Better to know.
At least the
that ahead of
construction's,
time, though,
or at
than
least the
mentally
traffic is
prepare.
almost gone, but but they've been detouring through Second Brook.
So the water department and police department have been wonderful in collaborating. I met with Chris from the water department. We
Yeah.
sat down, he said, hey, what are the best times to avoid? I'm like, don't come during arrival, dismissal. So we did talk about it and had a plan in place.
Right.
So,
But I would imagine that's adding to the traffic, even
Yeah,
though they've
yep.
got a pretty good flow going on Main Street. It's.
and we have a lot more kids and a lot more parent pickup and drop off. Yeah.
All right, well.
Can I actually ask on that? Are you seeing a large decrease with the busing, like students that ride the buses since COVID?
I don't know, those buses.
Because everyone's
the
assigned a
buses are
bus,
pretty full.
right? Okay.
But there's a lot still pick up and drop off too.
I think with all the growth, it probably just like works out that more
Yeah.
kids are being driven, but there's just more kids.
Yeah.
So now
It's a
the
lot
buses
more.
are still full, like.
But we still have room on the buses, right? Like, we're
Yes,
not
yep,
reaching capacity.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because technically everyone gets assigned a bus, so there has to
Right.
be space for every student,
Okay.
even if they don't take it. Yeah. Any other questions?
One more question. Are you seeing, like, is a lot of the new enrollment for kindergarten coming from, like, new construction? Are you able to pinpoint where this bubble year is coming from?
I don't know, I'd have to look at the addresses. I don't know if it's
Okay.
new construction, but we do have a lot of people who move from other towns, you know,
Okay.
like Braintree, Abington, Weymouth.
Transfers.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. Anything else?
Were
Sorry.
you going to talk about the drone?
Oh, so I thought Mr. Hawes was coming here for that. He had a proposal in there?
Yep.
He was supposed to come.
There is a proposal in the folder.
There is a proposal, right?
It has your name on it.
Has my name on it?
Yes.
Listed under you, but
I don't, what does it say?
It says it's for you.
it says drone
No,
detection.
it's not for
impossible.
me. It's not, yeah. He had come to me asking me if he could fly a drone around the schools, I think maybe to make some, I don't know if advertisement's the right word, or, I'm not sure.
Marketing.
He was supposed to be here to talk about it, because it's definitely not my thing.
Okay, why don't we table this then for October, since there's no one here to present? And then the second thing is there are some flyers in here
Okay.
that are,
Which ones are in there?
we've
Cub
got
Scouts.
Cub Scouts. What just happened?
Yeah, so if we can approve,
Is that the
if
only
you
one?
guys wouldn't mind.
I think it's
That's
just
the one I
Cub
noticed.
Scouts.
I think Andy might have one, and I have one,
I'm only saying Cub Scouts.
which they're both ours. anyway.
Megan, can I just make a comment while we're talking about the flyers? And I hope that it comes out correctly, just because some of the things that the KFE posts on parent pages is one thing, because it's going out to the parents. But one of the things we had discussed back in the day, somebody had presented us with a fundraiser, and it had something about beer on it, and we had to say no, because it's a school-related, or it's still going through backpacks. Can we just make sure that even though KFE or any other group that's asking, that it doesn't say alcohol-related phrases on there, because I believe that that was flagged in the
A
past.
couple of years ago, we talked about that,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, yeah, we'll make
So-
sure we do our due diligence.
Because it's one thing to go online, it's just, and I don't want to sound unappreciative of the fundraisers,
Yeah.
but we just can't
I
have
talked to
someone
Allison
going in the
about that
backpacks
yesterday,
with the
actually.
beer
Yeah.
pong, yeah. So
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't mind.
You can say plum, you can say beer plum.
That's right, she did, yeah. It's going to be fruit juice.
Thank you.
So-
Do we have a motion to approve the Cub Scout flyer?
I'll make a motion to approve the Cub Scout flyer.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. All right, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Wiggle.
Thank you.
All right.
You see
Mr.
that? It's a
Materna,
pin cushion.
you are up.
Just doing a. Center cups. It's blue. Are you gonna keep going? It's in the drive. It says Kingston.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Andy Materna, principal at KIS. Welcome back. Man, it's good to be back. Welcome back. Like Carrie, I'd like to give a shout out to my custodial staff. Did an amazing job at KIS, working really hard this summer, so thank you guys. We're off and running this school year. Students have settled into their homerooms. They're adjusting to their schedules. Our overarching theme for this year is alignment and engagement, and this aligns with the strategy for district improvement numbers 2, 3, and 4. We're trying to build capacity of education, and we're trying to make sure that everything's aligned with the curriculum, with the Mass State standards. So that's what all of our work this year will revolve around alignment and engagement. Last year, I presented to the school committee oftentimes about the scheduling committee at KIS, and we created a new master schedule. We're excited to implement this schedule. We're working through some adjustments, working with KTA to make some necessary adjustments to the current schedule. We're continuing with our PBIS initiative at KIS. We held expectation meetings last week on the 12th and the 13th. If you remember from last year, we incorporate Eagle Wings and Eagle Bucks. We have our school store. Students are already collecting the Eagle Wings and putting them in the jars to be drawn out. And this is all for positive behavior. So students are being caught doing something really good. That goes along with our SOAR initiative, safety, ownership, achievement, and responsibility / respect. They get Eagle Wings, and then they earn opportunities to buy things at the school store. We will review these expectations at curriculum night, and curriculum night at KIS is Thursday night. It's the 19th. Starts promptly at 4:30 in the auditorium. If you can make it, Dr. Brzezzi and myself will be having a quick address to start the night off at 4:30. From there, we'll have 3 sessions for anybody they're 20-minute sessions approximately. For anybody, all the sessions will be the same, but parents can go to their teachers. And if they have multiple students at KIS, they can see all the teachers that they need to see, including all the specialists and support staff will be located in the library. We're continuing to collaborate with KES. Carrie was talking about it, and the bus company and KPD to improve our arrival and drop-off. Continued review of our Department of Transportation Safe Routes to School document from last year. We're trying to improve this. I know, Adam, we were talking about it, and if people have suggestions, what can we do? Happy to hear them. Happy to mull them about and talk over them. So it's something we're continuing to look at. A band update for this year. In reviewing the band schedule from last year, instrumental lessons were occurring for 20 minutes for grades 4, 5, and 6. And in cooperation with Miss S, Mr. S, and Mr. Pasqua, we are looking to offer 30-minute instrumental lessons on a bi-weekly basis for grades 4, 5, and 6. There'll be leveled lessons on a bi-weekly basis. There'll be a silver squad and a red squad going along with the silver and red color code. The schedule is difficult to maneuver with the shared position from KES and KIS, so we're trying to work it in with the constraints of staffing and with scheduling. Our chorus update, Mr. S, he was reviewing the chorus offerings. We have, it looks like, another great year for chorus offerings. I don't even know how many students in the auditorium today for chorus already, so we're moving forward with that, and that looks promising for another great choral year. Still trying to fill a few open positions at KIS, including our DLC2 teacher, an LTS school adjustment counselor. We're making adjustments with support staff right now. And we're moving forward in the process for these hiring positions. Other open positions include our reading specialist, which we're looking at moving forward quickly. That position just closed today, so we're looking to move forward with that. A building sub, lunch and recess aide. I'm moving forward with another potential application for lunch and recess aide. A special education paraprofessional, and most recently a resignation of our school nurse, which we'll be looking to fill ASAP as well. The final thing for my update is the Magical Years, and the Magical Years Early Learning Center in Kingston is looking for a space to host a trunk or treat for their families. They were wondering if they could use the lower parking lot at KIS.
And outside agencies should use the facilities request forms, and I think part of that will be ensuring that they have insurance to cover the event as well. So again, making sure of that. In terms of advertisement, which I think was another part of their question that you posed to me, typically advertisement for events would have to go through the school committee.
Can I clarify on that? If it's being advertised to our students, right? They could do private advertisement on their own to say that it's at the school?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, as long as the facility
Has
is
been filled
available
out.
at that time,
Okay.
and they are able to comply with the facilities request form.
Okay. So we don't need to approve it. It would be facilities request, and then if there's any fee, it would be
Right.
determined through the principal.
I was under the impression that there was an advertisement feature in this request, but perhaps there isn't.
I think I'm going to have to clarify
Okay.
too before we move any
I
further.
was going to say, it sounds like Magical Years, I believe, is preschool. So if there's not, then,
Would they possibly want to?
It sounds like it was just for their families, and they were seeking
Okay.
Space.
to use our space.
Okay.
So perhaps this is the wrong platform
no, I
for
think you
their
could-
request, or?
I think you may be able to approve it yourself if they have the appropriate insurance and the building usage,
Okay.
facilities usage.
Okay,
Right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
very good.
Any questions?
That's all I have. Are there any
Oh.
questions?
There is surplus and a possible vote.
Surplus and a possible vote.
Before
Perfect.
we do that, may I just clarify that these positions that you listed on there are budgeted for this school year? The ones that
Yes.
are unfilled? Thank you. Thanks.
So in your packet this evening, you will find a list of items that the principal would like to declare as surplus. But in order to do so, it would require your approved vote.
Does anybody have any questions or discussion regarding the surplus items? Got some folding tables, and a lectern, and a rolling projection screen.
I actually do, just regarding the tables, are we going to need additional tables or furniture when these larger class sizes start coming into KIS?
So we have a number of student desks that are in storage right now.
Okay.
These tables, in speaking with my custodial staff, they have just been moved from here to there. They used to be utilized in the cafeteria. We have since purchased tables in the cafeteria that have benches. If you notice, these tables do not have benches. They don't have seating attached to them.
Right, but that's your lost and found, isn't it?
Well,
We're not getting rid of the lost and found.
We're
are
not
we?
counting that one.
Oh,
And we're not
okay.
counting the 2 or 3 that we'll hang on to
Just wanna make sure.
for meetings or that.
That's a lot of stuff that ends up on those tables. You're lost and found.
Maybe
We
they'll
do.
take it home now.
We do have a number of these folding tables that are just being moved from one space to the other space.
Okay.
So I'm presenting the tables to you as surplus. They are in great shape. I wish I had a use for them. But again, in years and speaking with staffing, specifically the custodial staff, they just get bounced around from closet to hallway to closet.
We've all got those items. Okay, yes.
If I may, by declaring it surplus, Andy could then offer it to other schools in our surrounding area, our other districts within Union 31 who may have a need for them.
Okay.
If they don't, what will happen with them?
Just go to auction.
I mean, I don't want to throw them away. That's for
We'll cross that
certain.
bridge when we
Right.
get to it, if that happens.
Okay.
It becomes a donation at that point. I don't,
Okay.
I think
was
that's
just curious.
a bridge we'll cross when we get there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to, let's see, how would I say that?
Declare these items.
To declare these items surplus
Mhm.
and dispense with it according to however you guys decide is best.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, awesome.
Great.
Um,
Thank you.
Were you going to talk about air quality testing? We have that on our agenda.
Oh, no. It's like PTSD from COVID.
You can say no, it's on the agenda, so I just wanted to inquire.
I wasn't prepared to.
Okay,
Um,
we will accept that, thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I could probably give a 4-year-old report, and it would be very...
Would you mind if I presented?
Oh, please, do.
So there has been a request for an air quality test at Kingston Intermediate School. The KTA has offered to conduct their own air quality test. It is recommended that we consider having our own air quality test done at the same time, and that we organize that through the building principal. That would cost us approximately $2,000, but that's a rough estimate. Before we moved forward with that, we wanted to get your thoughts on this matter.
Megan? I would actually say that if the KTA is going to do their own, let them do their own. If they have any concerns based on their own cost to do their own respectfully, then they can bring it to us. But at this point, I think it would be kind of redundant if we both did air quality testing at the same time.
I agree.
Because
If we had
assuming the results
concerns-
would be the same.
Well, I think if we had concerns, we could then conduct our own. Considering our,
We have one in 22, didn't we?
We did it quite a few times following COVID,
We did.
as requested.
we have budget constraints, so, you know, if it's $2,000
Sorry,
that,
Megan, you want to turn your mic up?
oh, yes. If it's $2,000 that we don't need to spend, I'm just hesitant to go to just spend it. Tricia, did you have anything?
No, I agree with that.
Okay. So can we hold off on that for now? Or can we get an actual price so that way we have a better
Yeah.
idea
I
too?
believe the facilities director is soliciting quotes for me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
But again, if they have concerns, then definitely we'd need to run something ourselves anyways. But if they're going to do them and they don't have concerns, then I think it would be a waste.
Are they doing is the KTA doing the test just as a regular check, as what?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have the Director of Finance and Operations, Sarah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to start with my financial report. I'm going to tell you that my financial reports last year, I tried to model them off of my predecessor Christine Healy's reports. My reports to you this year are going to be a little bit different. I'm going to start off by saying that if you look at the report that was in your folder, your digital folder online, on page 2, there you can see that I have created some new account lines. So there are some things that were budgeted for, but not budgeted in appropriate lines. I'm going to try to transition the lines that we have to match the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, so that when it comes time for me to turn around next year and do the end-of-year report, I'll be able to line up our budget with the reporting categories for the state more easily. You'll notice that Halfway down the page, on page 2, I created some lines for ESY, extended school year. That money was budgeted in FY '25 under a tuition line, because that's where it had been budgeted in the past. It's more appropriate to pay professional staff out of a professional staff line, and that's what I created. And also I created a line for support staff, and you'll notice when you read through these reports, the naming convention for lines in the past had been always to have everything all capital letters. So as we're moving forward, you'll know that it's something new and different, because I'm not going to use that all capital letter naming convention. The other thing I want to tell you about the financial report is that, much to my surprise last year, that when the reports were printed, there's the numbers at the bottom of the last page, and the number in the bottom right-hand corner was not always necessarily the final most accurate number. So what I'm telling you is we have enacted some changes with how we're doing some things in the business office, and that the report that you look at in front of you is the actual report. So the number in the bottom right-hand corner that says we have $13,177,009.93 left over between now and the end of the year is an accurate number. And other than that, there's not anything remarkable on the report. So unless anyone has any specific questions about it, I'm ready to move on with it. Or move on from it.
Does anybody have any questions? All right.
The second thing on my report is a potential solar project. After town meeting in the spring, a resident reached out with an idea for potentially putting solar panels on the roofs of the Kingston schools. I've included some information in your electronic packet, and I'm asking, would the committee desire to move forward with such a project? And if so, what additional information might you need in order to make a decision?
This solar project, is this part of the loan, the other project that we're doing to replace the roofs? Is this in conjunction with that, or is that only the resident putting forward this information and requesting?
This is sort of related to the roof project in that there is an opportunity for grant-funded roof replacement if needed to prepare the roof for the solar panels, which happens to just be concurrent with the fact that we're moving forward with the Mass State Building Authority with a roof repair request and potential project.
Can you remind me again when we're going to find out if we are approved? I believe this is the 8th or 9th year we've applied. Do we know when we get approved?
So we were contacted by MSBA, and they did come and do a site visit, and they looked at our roofs, and we have not yet heard back. But this is further than we've ever gotten before, so we're cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
On that note, I get sidetracked. But I understood that one of the steps was that we needed to have a funding mechanism in place to pay for the design portion of that roof replacement, and that would be this year, like 90 days from that site visit. Is that something we need to vote on?
So it's something that the town has been made aware of. They were copied by the Mass Building Authority, and it was something that the Board of Selectmen voted on, that they would in fact support the project if in fact we were approved.
Okay.
So again, it's hard to move forward with something for the town to act on if in fact we haven't been formally approved.
Okay.
But they are aware that we've had the meeting. They were invited to attend. We invited the town administrator to attend the site visit as well.
Okay. So that we're just waiting to hear back from that site visit.
We are.
How would this impact, if we were to say that we want to explore the solar opportunity, how would this impact our grant? Or should we just kind of table doing anything with the solar until, or should we go ahead and simultaneously do both and see what happens?
One thing you may want to consider is that the grant, the MSBA grant, is for KES only.
Right, okay.
So perhaps you could pursue information about KIS.
Okay.
Again, this is something I'm bringing to you because it was suggested, and then there were many emails going back and forth, and I asked Town Manager Keith Hickey, no relation, about this solar project, and he said it's up to the school committee. The people behind this project need an electric bill, and I haven't sent an electric bill yet because I don't have any authorization to do that.
Okay, so with a vote from the committee tonight to approve sending of the electric bill, would they be able to put together a proposal for us about, like, what that would look like if they put panels on the school?
I could ask for that, yes.
Okay. I mean, I think it's something that we should at least look into, because that has the potential to certainly
Offset the cost.
bring in a lot of, money for the schools.
I like that idea.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve Sarah sending an electric bill?
Just want to clarify, it's non-binding,
No, correct.
just to send.
I'll make a motion to approve Sarah to send the electric bill for KIS for the purpose of putting together a proposal, non-binding proposal, on the solar panels for the KIS roof.
Can I make a friendly amendment? Would it be detrimental to send both KES and KIS in the event that we get denied for the MSBA grant?
Where it's non-binding, I don't see a
Where it's
problem.
non-binding? Okay. Do you want to accept my friendly amendment?
I
Is that okay?
accept the friendly amendment.
Then I will second, please.
Can I just ask a clarifying question on that? When you say and KES, do you mean in addition to KIS, like two separate,
Yes.
not one lump?
Right, send
Okay.
both electric bills and see what they come back with. And then in
Separately.
the event that MSBA denies us for the 9th year,
Okay,
it might even be 10th year at this point,
okay, perfect,
then we have another option maybe to pursue.
perfect. All right, so we have a motion, and that was a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Okay.
Thanks to Ronnie for that idea, right?
Okay.
Is that, okay.
And then I don't see Dr. Panarisi here. Is there anything?
Dr. Panarisi is not here this evening. I'm sorry she could not be here. But I would like to say she did a wonderful job presenting an overview of the new IEP process to staff on opening day.
May I just ask a clarifying question, which I had also asked in the regional meeting, so I apologize, it's redundant. The IEP process is being changed by DESI. This is not something that's district
No, these are state
implemented.
changes.
Thank you.
Yes. And
I know there were a
tomorrow?
lot of questions about that because it's a new process, so I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
We're not hijacking the system.
Okay. Awesome.
And then just add, and I think there's a meeting coming out.
Is it tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow? Yeah.
Yes. I think it's tomorrow. The parents' career went out.
Parents' meeting.
Okay. And next up, we have our new Assistant Superintendent, Tricia Clifford. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I've been here since August 1st, so 6 weeks. And a lot has happened in the last 6 weeks. So I will go over a few things and just update you all. The first piece was teachers participated in the Studying Skillful Teacher course, which is contractual and happens during generally the first 3 years of a teacher joining us here. And they were able to meet for 5 days and go over all of the foundational pieces related to effective teaching And I think we're really lucky and fortunate to have this course. It really sets teachers up right from the beginning to be able to establish strong units and lesson plans and instructional approaches. So that happened back in August. And the second piece is I also completed and submitted the title grant. So titles for Kingston, it's Title 1, 2, 3, and 4. Title 1, generally speaking, is used usually for math interventionists or for literacy interventionists. Title 2 is usually used for professional development or to help fund mentors for new teachers. Title 3 is the EL, generally speaking, is to help support EL with tutors before and after school, professional development, and family engagement activities. And Title IV can be used for several things, but it can also be utilized for professional development. So all of those things have been completed and submitted to the state and been approved. So that's good. The new teacher orientation program was held on August 21st at the high school, so all the new teachers came and heard from many people throughout the district. And we were able to go on a bus ride, which I went on too, through all of the towns, which was a good tutorial and very informative, so that was great. Strategy for district improvement. This is something that we've been working on over the summer. At our leadership retreat, we also worked on it. It's really just making sure that the pieces that we need to focus on this year, we've clearly articulated with action steps and all of those pieces, which we've been working on. And on September 3rd, we had a professional development day. All of the elementary teachers met at KIS. We were able to look at data from the state, MCAS data, and do alignment work with the state standards. So looking at curriculum, looking at item analysis, looking at how can we make sure that we're teaching what we need to be teaching, and using the data to really inform that. And at the high school, both groups at the middle school and high school started off at their respective schools, and then they met in departments. And there will be some continuation of this work on November 5th. We were able to get our data back from DESE really pretty early this year, so we're able to use that to really inform teaching and the curriculum alignment work that Andy spoke about too. So that is it. That's all I have.
That's great.
Megan,
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Since you just mentioned MCAS.
Okay, Jeannie, was your last one?
It might be. My 10th graders asked me 3 times if I've received this report yet. Since you received the data early this year, do you have an approximate time that parents may receive their children's report from the spring?
I don't, but generally speaking, it's usually, I feel like it's usually in the middle of the year is when we usually get those at the central office, but I'm optimistic because the information did come out earlier. I feel like a little bit earlier, even though it's preliminary now. They haven't given it to the public yet, but earlier for the schools, I felt like, than generally before. But it will sometimes be usually in the middle, end of fall, winterish time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Dr. Prue.
Thank you. So over the summer, we held 3 leadership institute days to review the strategy for district improvement and to set goals for the upcoming school year. So in your packet, you have a draft strategy for district improvement for the upcoming school year. In August, we held a training with Duperret Law with regards to the new Title IX regulations at the state level. And we will be presenting proposed changes to our Title IX policies as well for the school committee's policy subcommittee to consider. So this year you should expect to see some policy changes with regards to Title IX in your packets. We have been hiring new staff and we welcome them on opening day. And I will tell you more about our new staff as well as the strategy for district improvement when we go next to our presentation, which highlights the strategy for district improvement and our goals for the upcoming school year. And I think that was it in terms of general updates. So if we could go to the presentation next. Our opening day staff for staff took place on August 28th, and yes, this year's theme was outer space. Introductions to new staff at this meeting included our new assistant superintendent, Dr. Tricia Clisford, our athletic director, Rick Swanson, our elementary curriculum coordinator, Brian DeSantis, our HR director, Liz Grindle, our integrated pre-K principal, Sarah Chick, our math coordinator, Dan Correa, and our special education coordinator, Elizabeth McKay. So if we could advance to the next slide. You may recall that we set academic goals in each of our schools last year. To try to meet these goals, we implemented a panorama assessment in October and in February, and we used those results to address students' social and emotional needs. We continued the implementation of Second Step at the elementary and at the middle school levels. Kingston Intermediate School added their PBIS incentive program to promote pro-social skills. PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. We updated our website to improve accessibility with translation, video, and sound. And if you turn to the next slide, to meet the needs of diverse learners, we use data to inform our instructional practices and to support students in the least restrictive environment for our students with special needs. We launched a comprehensive data dashboard to help us monitor student growth and achievement. And you may recall our principals shared their results last spring with regards to the data and how it was being used to track student progress. Our multi-tiered system of support team, MTSS team, worked to define expectations for all support teams in each building. And we partnered with Chris Taylor and Teachers 21 to examine our data and expose learning gaps for our student subgroups. If you could turn to the next slide. We continued to use and to create Understanding by Design curriculum units. We designed and implemented common assessments and benchmark calendars, and we completed learning tours in each of our schools to help build our instructional leadership capacity. As a district, we also accomplished a number of structural changes, including consolidating our human resources related data to establish greater position control. We made a number of changes to our financial structure in order to meet the Department of Education and state regulations. And we participated in numerous school committee and town sessions to help explain and support these changes to our multiple budgets. The result was the passage of each school committee approved budget. In all three towns, an updated regional agreement was approved to include pre-K at the regional level. So if you go on to the next slide, you can see.
I think you skipped two. Oh, there.
Next slide. There we go. Yep. Thank you. The resulting changes to our structure included pre-K becoming part of the Silver Lake Regional Agreement. Silver Lake special education programs K through 6 are now part of our elementary schools and not considered Silver Lake programs. Out-of-district Silver Lake 7 through 12 plus and pre-K are now part of the Silver Lake budget. We updated our shared cost agreements so that they are aligned with the regional agreement. We included the extended school year program in our local budgets. And the 240 grant is now used to pay for out-of-district tuitions by district to help with those costs. So those were the changes that were made last year. Those were the required changes to structures that had been in place for decades. Next slide, please. The end result is greater budgetary transparency with regards to special education, and we are now in compliance with regulation. Next slide. So the leadership team did renew its commitment to our goals and vision this summer, and we will continue to make sure that all students have access to high-quality learning experiences that are aligned with our state standards. And so our leadership team, including principals, assistant principals, coordinators, and directors, each presented to the staff their common goals or hopes for the upcoming school year. So students will be surveyed again in the fall and winter to help support students in need. We will expand Second Step into the high school. This is our anti-bullying and pro-social skills program that we have been using in the elementary, and we extended to the middle school over the last year and a half. Our principals will be focused on ways to improve parent and community involvement in our school events. And if we could go to the next slide. For our second objective, we will continue our efforts to align the curriculum with the state standards to make sure all students have access to grade level expectations. If you turn to the next slide, as we updated our IEPs, 504s, and our district curriculum accommodation plan, we will also create a strategy to assess the effectiveness of these items, as well as plans to improve our co-teaching model in this upcoming year. This year, we will also implement a formal curriculum review cycle. We will start with math, since that is the next area for renewal in our new program implementation cycle that was established. Our new curriculum coordinator will also work with the secondary math coordinator to assure alignment pre-K through 12 plus. Next slide. As always, we will work to provide training and professional development opportunities to support our initiatives for our faculty and staff. Our schools will be implementing common expectations for our support teams. With regards to our budget process, we will again work to align our goals with our requests. And as Sarah mentioned, she will be also working to align our accounts to match the DESE Chart of Accounts, thank you. So this is all part of the structural changes to clean up longstanding practices that were not appropriate as a partially regionalized school district. In your packet, you'll find a copy of this presentation, as well as the strategy for district improvement, which we will review with the principals this week to help them refine their goals as well, so that we're all moving in the same direction.
Great, thank you.
So we had a lot to celebrate in terms of what we accomplished last year, but we wanted to reaffirm our commitment and think about our direction for the upcoming school year to make sure that all students have access to high-quality education.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Dr. Prue? Okay, great. And now we have report on standing committees. Admin review, Jeannie.
And Tricia.
We've
met a couple of times since our last meeting. We'll be speaking for an executive session.
Okay. Bylaw. I don't think we have anything on that. Pilgrim Area Collaborative, Sheila.
Thanks for taking it on, by the way.
Yes.
I already asked him if I could, so excited.
Microphone?
You can turn your mic.
Sorry.
I'm just very excited to be back on. So yes, that's next Thursday.
Excellent. All right. Union 31.
We have a meeting prior to the regional meeting on October 17th.
Okay.
And that will also be a reorg meeting for that meeting.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Negotiations. No, nothing to report.
We had a meeting, but it was regarding the Title IX, which we're looking to review with the entire district, as well as another thing that we had approved, which I believe we might talk about tonight as well.
Thank you. Okay, budget advisory. Anything?
Can I actually ask if Mr. Pike has anything to say? Are you still Finance Committee Chair?
Okay.
Okay.
Facility oversight.
I don't have anything on that. I am curious on, I don't know that there's regular meetings on that, but I am worried about the roof project and meeting with timing from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to you about that. I don't know.
Sure.
No update at this time, but we're keeping an eye on that roof.
All right. Thank you. And then policy technology.
Yes, Mike.
It's Mike.
Okay. And then approval of the bill schedule with the single signature warrants.
I did sign.
That would be me. Our meetings are currently out of sync with the warrant cycle. There was a single signature warrant on August 12th for $307,790.19, as well as a single signature warrant on September 9th for $147,919.23. The next warrant is due October 15th, which will also go out for digital signatures because it will still be out of sync with the meetings.
All right, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn and go into executive session, not to return into open session?
Do you want me to make?
But if you could please read the.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my computer died. I will make a motion that we enter into executive session, Chapter 30A, Section 21-2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, which is the superintendent, and executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, which is the approval of the executive session minutes of April 2nd, May 14th, June 17th, June 24th, and August 1st, 2024, and not to return to open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there like open session this week?
We started the meeting with the visitors' open session.
I guess it's my first time coming to one of these, so.
Megan, can I make a motion that we move the visitor, since Adam just sat through the whole meeting? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I didn't realize that's what you were here for. I would have.
Yes.
I didn't know the
Okay.
agenda, how it works.
It's just to hear any visitors, it was the top of it, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I wish I knew that.
That's okay.
yes.
A second.
Yes, okay. You can go up to the podium.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys, I didn't know any better. You guys are quite intimidating.
I thought you just wanted to hang out at the meeting, I'm sorry.
Well, that's part of it, I'm just kidding. So I'm Adam Toledo, parent. I have a student in KIS. My biggest issue at the moment is I was going to rain on that guy's EV parade because I'm an issue with traffic. I think everybody's been saying it. My big issue is that I haven't seen anything done about it. Back to Jeannie's comment about the detours and all that stuff, I waited for that to bypass. It's still a problem. I'm actually coming in through that Cancun entrance now into the school. I'm in and out within 4 minutes. Going through the northwest side, dropping off my son in the opposite side of the school. I know Mr. Materna doesn't like that, but nothing that I have seen has been done about it. So I guess Mrs. Dr. Whipple says that there's a meeting next week about it. So I just want to know if there was an action plan, if the committee's aware if there's an action plan on something to do. So to me, it's more of a safety concern. I saw a big drop off at the back of KIS, and the guy just came through the back, on opposite side of the road, went through all the buses, and again, then you have all the special ed bus drivers like not letting all the other guys go. You have all the buses going there. People are going on the opposite side of the road, going to that parking lot entrance. So I know there's no right answer, but I know there's a quick answer to try. There's no reason to not try things, right? Where I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but coming off of 2nd Brook Street, you could do it right in that parking lot, go straight through with a little curb, maybe between me and that desk, turn that into a little road, and we could maybe even do it like a quick in, quick out. But it's a safety concern too, right? Mr. Materno said I could drop my kid off in that parking lot, but the issue is then those people that are going backwards on not only both crosswalks, because those guys on the special ed don't want to let anybody in. The big yellow bus drivers don't want to let anybody in. So you just have a stopping point. So again, I go the opposite way and I do the special ed route that they're doing because they don't let anybody out. So I do want to know if there's going to be something done, not after 9 or 10 years on a roof situation. You know what I mean? I'm more of an action kind of guy. So I want to know what we can do. And I know you guys are aware of it, so what's the plan, if there is one?
So I believe the plan is that the principals are going to be meeting with the police department to help troubleshoot and come up with some new routing plans that are safe and effective. I think it's also important that, given that people are not following the flow of traffic, that perhaps the SRO could be available on some mornings to observe traffic flow and to help with that as well.
Because we had a police officer who used to stop that entrance to one of the parking lots, but that doesn't help. It's just still just making the line longer. I mean, it does help for people to cut through there. So that was kind of pointless, to be honest. But again, going through like I said, if I try to do what Mr. Materna says, I'll try that tomorrow, dropping off at the crosswalk, but just observing him crossing one crosswalk where, again, the special ed guys and the bus drivers don't want to let the parents out. That's problem one. and they're going the opposite direction, and then he has to go on the other crosswalk where the special ed bus drivers are, which again, not polite drivers, I'll say. So again, I could try that, but again, it's still a safety concern. You know what I mean? Especially when you have the kid just walking across those crosswalks by himself.
I mean, a shout out to you for trying to do the right thing. I would actually urge you to continue to come in the direction that's quicker for you.
Oh, no, it's way
because
quicker in.
I know that everyone that's coming from that side of town, that's the direction that they use if
It's
they're doing
awful,
a drop off.
Yeah, it goes
So-
almost to Canada's house. It's crazy.
Right.
It's bad.
So-
I just have a question. Are there crosswalks out in the morning, like for any students that would be coming from the parking lot, like that need to get to KIS?
Yeah.
People manning the crosswalk?
Yeah.
No, it would be us, like,
Would it be possible to have it like a teacher go out in the morning to help?
teachers can't. I don't think it's a contract, so.
Would you mind?
So we have staff at KIS for their morning duties, starts at 8:15. And we have staff members that are out front and they're manning buses. We have staff on the south side by the soccer fields and they're manning the parent drop-off. So that's where our staff duty is. I could look at reallocating staff to be crossing guards. But I don't know if that's contractual or, because that's a different kind of police job.
I know that Plymouth pays for their
Like
crossing
traffic.
guards.
Sure. No, I'm just trying to come up with a way, like, I understand the safety concern of all of
Right.
the traffic.
There's
and
a lot. I get it. There's a
having
lot
it-
going on. I get
Right.
it. I'm not being unrealistic, but the realistic part is that the
Safety
action can be done to try something different, right? Not just look at it and just say, yeah, we get it. Like, there's definitely things that can be done. And at least what I'm proposing or thinking of is very simple, right? It's you break that curb on that parking lot, put cones so nobody can come in. You have parents that are going to, if you have to go to KIS and KES, those parents can go straight, special ed drop-off, and then to do that right. And then the parents that are only going to KIS, sorry, I'm being a little selfish at this point, right? Going in through that parking spot that I'm talking about and come right back out, and they're gone, right? They're out of the way. So KIS kids could be out of the way, and then KES and KIS parents that have to do both, they have that option. Because I know, again, I've had my kids go to KES, and it stinks, right? The kids are smaller, they take forever to get out the car, you want to give you goodbyes, and then those people can't move, and then there's buses. Like, there's so many pressure points. I get it.
Nope, it's a challenge. These schools weren't built when
Yeah,
all
no,
these
and
people
again, I
lived in
get
this
it.
town,
Like I said,
so-
I'm not being unrealistic. I get it, but like, just there's things to try. Again, I'm not saying that they're all right answers, but I'm more of a person like, let's do it. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And it's not much money to be spent on a couple feet of asphalt. You know what I mean? And cones. But again, I guess I'll follow up with Dr. Whipple. I guess you're in charge of that, or both of you guys. I don't know. Was both of you guys? All right. I just wanted to put
We
my
appreciate
2
it.
cents in. I did call you. I saw you call me back, but I missed you.
It's okay.
But yeah, I'm just so frustrated. I missed a really, really important meeting, and then at that same moment, that truck driver did what he did, and I was just pissed. Like, I just couldn't take it. That was like, that's awful.
That is definitely frustrating, and we hear you, and I think the principals, they're working on it. It's tough for everybody, so they
And
are.
then
but-
after all that, I just want to say thank you to everything you guys do. I mean, I'm kind of happy I sat through the whole thing, to be honest. But it's a lot of guys.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were here for visitors.
I
I would have
apologize.
I
I'm
would have called
sorry.
you out on that. I
Same.
thought you were here with KFE at
Yeah.
first.
So now I know for next time.
Top
Next-
But thank you
Next time
guys.
we'll make it more apparent, just in case anyone else is here. So thank you, see? We
All right, thank
appreciate
you,
that
guys.
feedback.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you. Okay. Jeannie had made the motion.
Yep.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Sheila Vaughn.
Yes.
Jeannie Coleman.
Yes.
Tricia Arietta.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Thank you very much to everybody who came tonight. We appreciate your
Thank you.
time. I
Thanks,
know
Adam.
this
Sorry
was
about
a
that.
little bit longer than typical, so thank you.
I
You guys want to do your stuff on football?